Okay. All right, Competition Tuesday. We're excited about today. We had a light practice yesterday morning. Yesterday was our first Tell the Truth Monday. It was about the big scrimmage that we had on Friday. I was very pleased with the organization of the scrimmage, the game type preparation by our coaches. All these preseason games are designed, although we're going against each other, designed to give the feeling of a game, get prepared for a game, and see how we do on the live action. I thought our team did very well on both sides of the ball. Defense got more pressure than usual. We had a large number of would have been sacks. Obviously, I called it early. There were some one-on-one wins. There were some protection breakdowns. Our offense made some big plays. There were some huge plays made for some young players, especially Eric Gilbert. He looked phenomenal on a couple of big-time plays. I thought Miles did very well. Had some things to improve on. Our young quarterbacks made some good plays. I thought our running backs ran the ball very well. Our linebackers played hard. And there was an improvement on our defensive ends. I thought those guys played very well. We still got a long ways to go, but it was a good first preseason game, number one. Today is our first Competition Tuesday. I know our guys are looking forward to a tough, hard-nosed practice. Any questions?
William. William Weathers, you're unmuted.
Coach, I know you can't speak to many specifics about this past weekend, but I wanted to kind of get your feeling on the class of 2021 and kind of the gathering they kind of helped put together. Obviously, there was no contact and can be no contact between the staff and these guys, but to see the lengths they went through to try to organize something away from the coaching staff, whether it's commitments, prospects, and obviously it can only benefit the program going forward.
Yeah, well, we have some great leaders that are already committed to us, and we have some outstanding players that are thinking about coming here. And I guess they got tired of waiting, and they wanted to come to Baton Rouge, and they arranged it on their own. From what I'm hearing, they had a tremendous weekend. They did a lot of great things together. I think it only brings our recruiting class closer. I wish that, because of COVID-19, obviously that's the rule, but I wish the rule would have been different to where we could be with them and have a complete weekend and pay their way. But they did what they could. Obviously, other schools are doing it, so we went ahead and did it also. Our recruits decided to do it because they've been to other schools. I thought it was very beneficial from what I'm hearing. I'm talking to most of the recruits today and tomorrow. And the parents, they really liked it. But it's not like an official visit where they get to meet academics, they get to come to a game, they get to meet with the coaches, so there's still a little work to do.
Hey, Coach, good morning. Jacques from WAFB. Coach John Emery, last year I think I heard you say he just needed to maybe hit the weights a little harder, and like basically any true freshman needed to mature a little bit. What have you seen out of him over the last year, and what does he need to do to get some carries this year?
We just talked about our roster this morning with the coaching staff, and John has made tremendous improvement. Obviously, came in as a great talent, a great young man right there from Destrehan, was the top running back coming out of the country. Had some ball security issues last year, has not had those ball security issues this year, is catching the ball very well out of the backfield, is playing on special teams, has become an every down back, can catch the ball, can protect, can run the ball inside, outside. He's considered a starter, as is Chris Curry and Tyron Davis. I think those three guys are considered starters in our mind, so he's doing very well.
Bruce, being with the Advocate, you were speaking about recruits this past weekend in general. For the season upcoming, I mean, how are you and your staff and maybe teams in general going to handle, times during the coronavirus where you'd have official visits maybe on game day? And I don't know, how do you see that playing out this fall, and how to approach that?
You know, obviously it's still a dead period. Hopefully that they let them come to our games, and we don't know that yet. We haven't been told that yet. Right now, the early sign-in period is still in December, so we have 18 commitments now. We got 7 more to go. Hopefully, most of them decide to sign in December. But some of them we haven't seen play, and hopefully we can go out and see them play. It's a different year. We have to trust our evaluation off of tape, and trust that they see enough in the university to sign in December if they can't come visit. It definitely is different.
Ron?
Yeah, Ed, I mean, just from watching games on TV, it seems like it's really difficult for teams to kind of get into the game because there's no crowd. And I'm sure you probably watched a couple of minutes this weekend, and probably like it just seems that's the same atmosphere. Can you talk about, I guess, what you're trying to do to try to jack your team up, because you got to kind of self-manufacture some energy.
Yes. Well, we try to do it every day in practice, and that's why we practice with a lot of energy. And we told our team we're going to have to provide our own energy in Tiger Stadium on Friday for the scrimmage. And for the most part, they did good. But you know what? There's no way that we can duplicate the energy that our fans give us. So hopefully we can have some fans. I don't know how many we're going to have, but whatever it is, it's definitely going to be different, Ron. It's definitely something that we have to deal with. And, I think I had the best strength staff in America, led by Tommy Moffitt. Those guys are always screaming and clapping. But we definitely have our work to do this year. Now, saying that, we still have to win the game. It's the same for the other team. So we're going to have to deal with it. And the team that can deal with it the best is going to win.
Hey, Coach, this is Josh Sibley with Louisiana Gridiron Football. Kai got the most carries last season. Do you see LSU moving to more of a running back by committee this season to encompass the different skill sets of all these talented backs?
I see that. I can see, especially in the beginning of the year, using all 3 backs, maybe 4, giving them a shot to see what they can do. But if a back is hot and he's having a great game, we're not going to take him out. I want the best. I want our guys to do what they do best, whether it be catching the ball, blocking, outside runs, inside run. Let's use the running back that can do that skill the best. When the ball is in the red zone, I want the ball in our best player's hands, whoever that player may be. So I think the situation will dictate itself of who's going to be playing to start off the game. Now, if a guy's the best in every situation, he plays.
Hey, Ed, good morning. It's Matt Moscone with ESPN Baton Rouge. Could you give us an update on Todd Harris, and then also just generally how the safety position looks now with Kerry opting out?
Yeah, we talked about Todd this morning at length. He's getting better. He's not full speed yet. He's not 100% healthy, but he's getting close. We feel with the development, obviously with Jacoby Stevens and the development of Mo Hampton, that we have 3 guys that are starters there. And we're really excited about Jordan Toles, our young freshman. We think that he's going to be excellent. So we think we're in good shape back there. And I have really 3 good safeties, 3 great college safeties that we're very pleased with. But Todd brings a lot of leadership, a lot of communication, does the right thing, makes plays, can play down, can play back, can play zone, can play man, is a good physical tackler, and he's a good team leader for us.
Hey, Coach, Shannon Jones with Fox 41 in Baton Rouge. When you talk about the running back position and how Chris Curry's been developing, what momentum has he carried over since last year, and you think that has a possibility of elevating him to be in the lead back going into this season?
Yeah, the big game that he had, obviously he waited his turn and had an excellent game and provided a spark for us when Clyde was down. I think that gives him some confidence. I think it gives him some motivation for this year. And he also can use Clyde as an example. Last year, nobody thought that Clyde would have the year that he did, except his teammates and his coaches, and we even surpassed that. And, where's the next LSU great back, and where's this and where's that? And then all of a sudden, Clyde has a great year. And I do believe one of those backs, or maybe a couple of those backs, or maybe all three of them will have that type of year this year.
Hey, Coach. It sounded like the defensive line kind of had a pretty good scrimmage last Friday. I guess kind of my question is more directed on the offensive line and just kind of how those guys are starting to gel. Obviously, with the preseason scrimmage down, I mean, are those guys getting more tight knit and becoming more of a unit the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think the acquisition of Liam Shanahan really helped us out. He's smart, makes all the calls at center. That's where it all starts. The communication, it goes down the line of scrimmage. So he's given our offensive line confidence that he can do it. Obviously, a veteran player, very smart. So it starts with him. And then you got to start our left tackle, Darren Rosenthal. I think that he is going to have an excellent year. He's a big-time athlete, as we know from Faraday, that plays defense, offensive defense in high school, moved over athletic tackle. Ed Ingram has a lot of experience. And then Austin Douglas, obviously we won a championship with Austin right there, and then Chason Hines. So we feel good about our first five. We got to be able to develop depth because, as we know, in the offensive line, we don't want it to happen, but somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to have to step up, and it's more than likely going to be a young player. We need to get them ready.
Hey, Coach O, Garland Gillen, Fox 8 New Orleans. Just listening to you over the last few weeks talking about your receiver room. Is it safe to assume that Terrace Marshall's the one? Would Racy be the two? And then Keyshawn Booty and Coy Moore are fighting for the three? Can you kind of give me an update how that's going? Because obviously, we just got to go on what you're seeing and what we're hearing.
Yeah. More than likely what you just said. And obviously that fluctuates day by day. A guy's going to have a hot day, but we're looking at the Keyshawn Boutte starting as a freshman. I think that is locked in. Rayson McMatt, Terrence Marshall has to be our go-to guy. We mentioned that this morning, and Eric Gilbert. I think if you look at that, those are the top four receivers that we have right now. Coy Moore is coming along very fast. He's had a hamstring pull. He's been hurt a little bit, so he's been hampered a little bit. John Trey Kirkland's having a good camp. And, we want to play 6, 7, 8 receivers, keep them fresh. But the guys that you mentioned are having the best camp right now.
Hey, Coach, this is Shay with 24/7. You've been around recruiting and coaching your whole life. How often do you see, and even in back-to-back years now with Stingley and Gilbert, guys who are sort of so highly touted coming out of high school, and then they show up and they are who kind of everybody thought they were type of thing? Is that few and far between, or what are some guys in the past you've seen that with?
Yeah, I don't want to say it's few and far between, but I'd say it's about 50-50 down the road. Sometimes the guys come out, they're the number one player in the country, and they come in and they play like it. Some of them, for some reason or another, are not because of the situation they are or the development, or somebody else beats them out or whatever it may be. But for Stingley to come in and do what he's done, I think obviously he's been coached by his dad all his life, great character, and Corey's done a tremendous job. Then Eric Gilbert coming with all the accolades he had, obviously expectations are very high, but he's reached every one of those. Now, he's still got to do it in the game, but those two guys we're very proud of.
Hey, Coach, this is Matt Zenitz from AL.com. I'm doing a story on Russ Callaway and just wanted to see what was it about him that made him a person of interest for you to add to the staff, and just what have your impressions been of him so far since he got there?
Well, Derek Panaski found him, and Derek is my right-hand man here, does a lot of work for me, and Russ's name came across. I knew his daddy is a great coach, and Russ had some a great experience at Sanford, was an outstanding coordinator, did a lot of good things. But he was hungry. He's been down big-time schools. I didn't know how good he was, to be honest with you, until we got him. His enthusiasm is infectious. He's an outstanding coach and taught well by his dad, learned well. I do believe the guy is going to be a coordinator and a head coach, and it won't be long because he's one of those type minds. He's a great worker. He's here at 5 every morning working with Coach Ensminger. Has a bright future ahead for him. And he's also a good recruiter. Has a lot of the top quarterbacks on the phone every day, talking to them. People love him. Sky's the limit for us.
Hey, Coach, Michael Cobble here. Just a couple of questions. Was the scrimmage live? And we saw last night in the Navy game, kind of how it impacted them. How do you balance that equation?
Yeah.
And then just my second question would be, we saw Lloyd getting a starting job at Denver. You got so many guys now in the league. Will you pay more attention on Sundays, or are you still too busy to really be able to devote any time to them?
Well, I'm answering the last one. Obviously, we're proud of Lloyd. We're proud of all our young men. Proud of Tre'Davious White, the big-time contract he got. On every Tuesday, not today because they haven't played, we make a cut-up and we show, Doug shows a cut-up of all our NFL guys that are doing very well. So we honor them every Tuesday. We keep up with them. We know what they're doing. It seemed like Daniil Hunter got a sack every game last week. We always showed him and guys that have done well that played at LSU, so we honor that. No question about that. Now, what was your first question?
Just about live tackling and how do you balance it?
Well, I think it's been balanced for us already by the new rules. We're on a 20-hour work week right now. We only have 25 practices in 7 weeks. So our guys are practicing 4 days a week, 3 days off. We practice on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, off Thursday and scrimmage on Friday. But Tuesday and Wednesday are heavy days. Monday's a light day. And Friday's full-speed scrimmage. I think the only way to get ready to play football is to hit. And like I said this morning on the radio, you never have to worry about these LSU Tigers hitting. We hit every day in practice that we can, but we also stay fresh. I think it's not a matter if you hit or you tackle. It's a matter of how long you practice and how many times you do it. But we need full-speed work. We had some missed tackles last preseason game number 1. But we got 2 more preseason games before our live game. Hopefully we can eliminate them. You're not going to eliminate all of them. But we're going to hit pretty hard today, and we're going to hit pretty hard Wednesday, and we're going to scrimmage live on Friday.
Hey, Ed, this is Scott Ravelay from The Advocate. Obviously, so much was made about Joe Brady when he left to go to Carolina, and you bring in Scott Linehan. But how much were you thinking going into this year that you're going to have to, break tendencies and maybe change some things in a way that people are going to try to defend now that they've seen you for a whole season? Yeah. And how has Scott helped you with that? You talked about some of the new concepts he's brought into the offense.
Well, what we did last year worked pretty good. So if we can do it the same way, the same thing, and it works, I won't complain a bit, I promise you. But Scott has brought some different tendencies, brought some different stuff. He's been phenomenal. Especially in the red zone, the tight zone, and on third down. We have some different formations, still out of the spread. We have some different pass concepts, still out of the spread. I think that he brought in some different concepts, how to use different players in different positions, which we're going to use. But again, I got to compliment Joe Brady. He did a phenomenal job for us last year. And I think that Coach Ensminger has been behind all this. I know he's going to work well with Scott, and we look forward to those guys having a great year.
Hey, Ed, just kind of 2 personnel questions for you. First, with Cade York, how has he been kicking this preseason? We haven't heard too much about him. And then with Elias Ricks, is he still kind of on track to maybe start here his freshman year? How's he playing?
Yeah, Cade's done fine. He's gotten stronger. He's had some good scrimmages. He's kicking the long ball very well. A lot better consistency this year, but he's going to have a good year. We have some young guys right behind him that are competing with him. It's an open competition. Right now he's our starting kicker, but he's going to have to prove it in preseason games. Elias Ricks is doing very well. Did a great job in Big Cat the other day. He was very physical. Is working very hard. And you're going to see a lot of Elias this year as a starter, or maybe not as a starter, but definitely in the rotation, playing a lot. And we feel like he's going to be an outstanding player for us.
We have time for 2 more questions, so we'll go Ed and then wrap up with Brody.
Hey, Coach, all off season and even last week, we heard so much about how much you've lost. Do you think that nationally people underestimate how much talent you still have on the roster and what you are capable of this year?
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a natural tendency for them to predict us not having the success that we would have if we'd had a lot of guys coming back. But as you know, Ed, that doesn't bother us. I think we have a great team. We're going to use it as an advantage. We've been picked high, we've been picked low, and none of them usually pan out. And this time last year, nobody picked us to go 15-0 and have a great season. So, again, we got to block out the noise. But, I think that, those guys have legitimate reasons to say, hey, listen, they lost this, they lost that. New quarterback. I can understand where they may pick us not to have the success that we think we're going to have. But I think we are underestimated because they don't know the young talent that we have. They don't know the new coaches that we have. But again, we have to go down and prove it week in and week out. 10 SEC games, man. Buckle up. It's going to be fun.